Hey everybody, my name's Kyle and this is Great 28 Live on Track by Track. Every day this month I'm picking one of my 28 favorite live albums and posting a short video highlighting what I think makes it great. There seems to be a fair amount of debate about what fans want to hear when they go to see a popular artist in concert. I think most people would agree that what they want to hear is the hits and that they'd be disappointed if some of the biggest songs didn't get played. But what about the way the songs are played? Do you prefer to hear those songs played live in a way that's mostly faithful to what you hear on the album? Or do you want the artist to somehow reinvent their music in a live setting? My personal preference at concerts would be to hear a fresh take on familiar songs. Now, I know people who'd say, what's the point of seeing an artist play songs exactly the same way they sound on the album when I can have that experience at home? I don't fall into that extreme, shall we say, perspective, but the truth of the matter is, when I'm thinking about whether or not to see someone in concert or to buy a live album for that matter, knowing the music will take on a new personality or have new arrangements definitely has a stronger appeal to me. If a traditionally electronic artist decides to go unplugged, I'm way more interested in seeing that show than if they'd toured with the intention of reproducing their studio recordings just in a live setting. Live Acoustic America by Howard Jones is a great example of this. Here's a musician who became famous during the 80s for his synth-pop new wave hits, but in 1996 he went on tour to play all his most popular songs in a whole new way. Acoustic. Jones left his synthesizers home and took the stage with only a piano. Gone are the drum machines, and in their place, a human being. Carol Steele provides stripped-down percussion for the shows, helping preserve the rhythmic beat of the original songs, but in a much more organic way. A great example of this is Jones's 1986 track, You Know I Love You, Don't You? This is perhaps one of his most up-tempo hits, fueled by propulsive synthesized drums and horns, all in perfect quantization. But here, with all the electronics stripped away, Jones is forced to recreate a similar level of cacophony with only what he can play on the piano, backed by Steele's frenzied fingers on the bongos. It's a remarkable performance, and one that actually gives this great song a more timeless character. Go back and listen to the 1986 version. That original recording absolutely bears all the hallmarks of its era, and to be brutally honest, those hallmarks haven't necessarily aged well. But in this acoustic rendition, the 80s stereotypes fall away and we can see how great songwriting transcends the decades. That brings me to another point, which is that the musicianship on this album is really incredible. Obviously, we knew Howard Jones was a talented musician, but to be fair, most of his hit songs were created on synthesizers and sequencers. Having been a synth player myself, I know how helpful those tools could be in transforming what a single musician could play into a virtually unlimited orchestra. I never considered myself a piano player for that reason. I could sequence impressive sounding music on my keyboards, but if I sat down at a piano, I'd be hard-pressed to dazzle anyone. Howard Jones, on the other hand, sounds absolutely amazing on Live Acoustic America. This guy could have given Billy Joel a run for his money and won the title of Piano Man if he'd wanted to. But it was easy to take that talent for granted when listening to his recordings from the 80s. On Live Acoustic America, you'll find great new versions of almost all of those songs, including Like to Get to Know You Well, Things Can Only Get Better, No One Is to Blame, and What Is Love. And as you'd expect, there's plenty of sing-along moments to be found as well. On Life in One Day, Jones even does a little coaching to get the best backup performance from his audience. It's a charming moment on an album that's already brimming with charming moments. And even if you weren't a die-hard fan of his music, even if you were just a casual listener who only knows the big radio hits, this album is still easy to recommend. And that's why I'm happy to include Live Acoustic America as part of Great 28 Live. That's it for today's episode. As always, I'll try to include Amazon ordering links in the description below if you want to add any of the music I've featured to your collection. And before you go, please take a second to click subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes of Great 28 Live and many more videos to come. Once again, my name's Kyle and this has been Track by Track. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.